Now he's riding high in the opinion polls right now, but I imagine he's taken a few hits because of the debacle of this national cabinet. And it really has been a debacle, because it's just been, there hasn't been much unity between the states. We've still got a situation where WA is not going to open its borders in Christmas. That's absurd. I mean, they should be forced to. This is getting beyond a joke. I mean, I don't know what's happening legally with the High Court, but see, something's got to be done about this. If we really want to call ourselves Australia, we have to act like a country, not like a whole group of states. Mind you, similar problems are taking place in America, much greater extent, of course. Trump has only got certain powers. He gets blamed for not basically quelling the violence in the cities, but the violence in those cities is under the control of local governments, governors and mayors. And they're the ones that have got the problems are the ones that are run by liberals, in other words, left-wingers in Democrat states. So you've got real problems over there, much worse than here, but things could get worse here, I guess, but I think we're a little more cohesive, so we're not the worst place in the world to be, that's for sure. I'm very happy I was born in Australia, in spite of all the crap we're having. Well, I'm using Medicare for a start, getting older and I'm needing it, and the Medicare system is one of the best public health systems in the world. And you know, I've always supported it. Even when I was young, I always supported Medicare, even though I may swing right of centre. I think a civilised, affluent society should provide basics like healthcare to its populace. I agree with that. So in that respect, I'm not free market, but that's about the only thing I'm not free market on, I suppose. I believe that free markets provide the greatest wealth for everybody. So even the poorest in a society that has open markets is better off than a closed society that doesn't allow markets to work their magic. The invisible hand, as Adam Smith would call it, or did call it, I should say. It's very true. That's why communist countries just can't work out supply and demand. They can't dictate it. The invisible hand is a much better way of working out demand and supply. People will make it quite clear through their own wants what they actually need, and it seems to work pretty well. It has throughout the ages. If you have any concept of history, which is the left is trying to destroy, then you'd know this. And speaking of history, one of my favourite, my favourite speaker and historian is one Victor Davis Hanson, and he's got Swedish ancestry, so all my Swedish viewers will be very happy to hear that. He's a really bright guy, very accessible, makes history a pleasure to learn. His expertise is in the classics, in Greek and Roman classics, and he also is a military historian, and that's a rare beast in universities these days. There's hardly any military historians around, but you can readily get his speeches online, well, his interviews, speeches, whatever. There's plenty of material on Victor David Hanson, and he's incredibly popular as a live speaker, and with good reason. He's got a clarity and a lack of pretentiousness, and he gives a great insights into history. There's some very bad history teachers around. He's not. He's absolutely enthralling. And if you look him up online and watch some of his videos, I think you'll be very surprised how good he is. And it shows how good the internet can be to provide access to someone like that, which I'd never known about if it wasn't for online. So, well, the 13% of viewers that are from Sweden that are watching my channel, I would thoroughly recommend him. I'd recommend him to anybody, actually. I've taken a greater appreciation of history since I've been going online. There are a number of good resources, and there are great speakers out there. Some fantastic minds. Obviously people like Jordan Peterson, very entertaining in the psychological sense. He covers that expertise. with common sense, I might add, which is fantastic to see from an academic. And another person that I think hold in very high regard is Douglas Murray. He's amazing intellect and talks a lot of common sense about immigration. And a pleasure to listen to these people. They've got great minds, very logical, and that's only a few of them. There's a lot more, and they're all accessible online, which I think is fantastic. And there's also a book I would recommend. I've got an audio book called Why Nations Fail, and I think it is one of the most important books that's been produced because it shows how institutions can affect how good an economy is, how open it is. They have defined two different types of institutions, one which is called inclusive and another one which is called extractive. And the extractive ones are the ones you probably see in a lot of third world countries, banana republics, where people basically get what they can out of the system. They can become vastly wealthy, but they don't do it. Doesn't do much good for the overall economy. It's more sort of a concentration of wealth at the expense of the masses. Inclusive institutions tend to benefit everybody, and it's a much better system, and that's the type of system we've inherited from the British, thank God. And now Western Europe, Scandinavia and North America. And it seems to work in spite of all the hassles we have with democracy. It does work as a system, and open markets work. Hi guys, it's Cooking with Doug. Here's the ingredients. One of these are spuds, unwashed, just like me. And can you figure out what they're for? What I'm going to make? Well, that's the mystery, isn't it? Isn't life wonderful? It's full of mysteries. And this is one of the many mysteries. It's quite large, actually. They're probably a bit too large, but that's okay. So you save about 50 cents on this. Not much. I mean, it's about $3 or something per kilo, and you get about 50 cents off if you buy them at Woolworths. They don't seem to offer this choice at Coles, but at Woolworths you get a choice between having washed and unwashed. So they're easy enough to wash. I'll show you how easy, very quick. I reckon that took me all of about a minute to wash the spud. It's pretty clean now, it's fine. So I'm just going to peel it. These things, we take these for granted, but I'll tell you what, these are great little inventions, the old peeler. I'll put up who invented it, when, and where. That's always the sort of crap you can find online. That's the beauty of the internet. All this trivial stuff you used to... Remember, we used to sort of ask these questions and you had to go to a bloody encyclopedia, and it was a real drag. But these days it's so easy to get information. The golden age of information. Also the golden age of fake news too, so it goes both ways, of course. It doesn't take too long to peel this. Look, I don't expect you to have a clue what I'm making, because it's a bit of a tough one for you to figure out. It's not what you'd expect, I'll put you that way. But it's a quick and easy meal. Up in Queensland, especially with the weather, I find this is a particularly good meal for most of the year, actually. It's about 28 degrees today, I think, so it's been a warmish day, but not too bad. Quite pleasant. I did my shopping earlier today, so it was a little cooler. I went out about 9:30 to shop, which is a bit unusual, but nothing wrong with that. It was actually quieter. It was good because there wasn't that many people at the supermarket, so that was great. So there we go. It didn't take long to do. That's quite a big spud, actually. Of course, the downside of buying ones that have got crap all over, you don't know if they're rotten. I mean, you can feel them, obviously, but no, this one looks fine. I'll just wash it. Okay, well that's all fine. Just get rid of this crud, put it into my I could get myself a tidy bag. I haven't got one. I just got basically a garbage bag I'm using. So, you know, typical bachelor type place. Now, this is what I'm going to put the spuds into, a baking tray. So I might as well preheat the oven. The oven's absolute crap. It's got rubber coming off the seals and what have you, but it does the job, you know. I mean, it hasn't let me down. I'm still been able to cook okay. So I'm just going to slice it up now, like this, so. Just cut it up this way. Like I say, I've probably got way too much for this. This spud's a bit too big. So then I'm going to cut it into quarters. Like so. And there's a reason why I'm cutting them up into relatively small pieces. This is actually a hint to what I'm actually making. The size of the pieces is rather small. So what I do is just put a bit of olive oil. This is El Cheapo olive oil. Put that in the tray, like so. And just put all the pieces in the tray. And just add a bit of salt. And I just, look, I don't know if I need to do this, but I always turn them over. I turn them over so that they get covered on both sides. That's what I do anyway. Look, I've got no idea. I just play it by ear. I pick up my own method of cooking and just give it a bit of salt. Haven't got high blood pressure, so that's not an issue. Body isn't totally cactus, but it's halfway cactus. Anyway, now, so I just shove all this into the oven, the top tray, so it gets nice and warm. And I'll leave it there for it'll take about an hour to cook. And this is the most time-consuming part of the process. Otherwise, it's a piss easy thing to make. So, actually, I don't know if you can see how bad the oven is, but the oven ain't particularly good, I've got to tell you. The oven's, there's rubber coming around the edges, it's been coming off. And this, the top bit, the hood, doesn't work. That's cactus. It used to work, but it's died in the backside. So I really do need a new oven. I'd like to have an oven sort of midway up, but I don't know whether I want to reconfigure the whole thing. But look, I've got to do something about the kitchen. It's a bit ratty, and it could certainly do with a renovation, but it does the job at the moment. So practically speaking, it's not really hindering me. So anyway, so we'll just leave that there to cook. I'll have to come back and just turn it over a couple of times, and that's about the only maintenance required now. So that's the hard part of the meal. So all done in effect. So it's pretty easy. Okay, next part of the process. By the way, I cook the spuds about 300 Celsius. So, although given the state of the oven, I don't know what the real temperature is. It's obviously lower, because there'll be a fair bit of leakage. Now I'm just doing one of these little rituals I do, which is basically just rinsing out the bowl. This is actually what I'm going to eat the meal out of, this particular bowl, believe it or not. So that might give you a hint to what I'm actually about to make. It's very easy, very quick, and I've got the ingredients super cheap today. Yeah, this is the main ingredient coming out right now. That's it there. 50 cents. 4 leaf. It's the Coles 4 leaf. Normally $2, 50 cents today because it's the use by date. So I thought I'd better make the salad on that today because I don't know how long this stuff's going to last. So again, I rinse stuff. I always rinse it. I'm a bit anal when it comes to that. I'll maybe wash that out. Okay, so I'll just rinse the ingredients. I think you can pretty well guess what I'm going to make now. I am putting a lot of greens into my diet, and I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not like I don't like them either. It's not that I'm actually substituting taste. I actually quite enjoy the flavour. This would probably be enough actually, considering I only paid 50 cents for the whole bloody bag. Of course, with the GST, the way it is, you pay less for healthy food anyway. The Democrats had put that through years ago. There's a different tax regime depending on the type of food that you buy. And this would be probably pretty well non-taxable, I imagine, the greens. So, which isn't a bad thing to provide healthy food. It's just it's a pain in the ass to calculate because once you put exemptions in, it complicates everything. John Newsom came a cropper in the federal election because he couldn't work out the cost of a cake, I think it was the problem, because it was whether it's manufactured or not. It was a whole lot of, it was complicated basically. So, too complicated for him to explain, and they said that's one of the reasons he might have lost that election. Mind you, I think he's a jerk off, so I'm quite happy he lost the election. That's the basic foundation of this particular meal. I may as well say it. I think you've probably worked out it's a salad. And it is, it's a salad. Now I'm going to put some of these tomatoes, little ones. Usually I buy these type, but I bought the big ones today just in case I wanted to. I might cut up one of these other ones, I don't know. We've got four tomatoes in there. Maybe one of these would be good. Just slice it up. Bit of an experiment, but that's cooking for you. Okay, I'll just take one of them out. It may be too much because they're quite large. See, I've got the starch from the cutting the spuds. I'll just wash that off. And give it a slice it that way. What am I going to do here? Like I said, I don't really want that. I don't know about the whole thing. This might be enough. I just put this quarter of this particular piece. That would be enough. I don't want to make it too big. So I've sort of made them into those sort of sizes. And I've still got this bit left over. I'll cover it with plastic, it'll be okay. This is all very ad hoc, I might add. There's no recipe involved here at all. This is just my creation. Other big ingredient for this one. When I buy these pipped olives, I don't like the ones that have got pips in them. They're pretty too much work involved there. So I pay a little more to get the ones that are actually pipped. So I'll put about, I don't know, eight of these in, 8 olives. Very healthy, very tasty. So that goes in with the tomato. And we've still got the spuds cooking in the oven. And I just toss it with a fork. I mean, you can get a proper tossing tool, but I just use a fork. So the other ingredients is the dressing. So I just bought the Woolworths basic dressing. Shake it up, pour it over like so. Should be enough. Then toss it. Just using the fork's fine. Just try to get it all covered. We're almost there. It's a very easy meal to make. Very easy. And very healthy and tasty. So, got a lot going for it, I think. And now we'll get the, I might just change camera angle here. And I'll get the spuds out. And as you can, maybe we can't see it. Well, actually, look, I'll tell you what. I'll show you how bad the oven is. Check that out. That's the rubber. You can see that's pretty bad. There's the spuds. Now I'll put the bowl next to it, and we'll just shove the spuds into the bowl. This is a non-stick type thing, but it's okay. It doesn't matter if you use a metal on it. As long as you don't put any pressure on it, it doesn't seem to cause a problem for it. Still seems to be non-stick. There's quite a few spuds there, more than I really need, but I don't have to eat them all anyway, they're cheap as. So just put them in there, just toss them. Almost done. Very easy meal. Almost done, almost completed. There's the... There you go, there's a view of the ingredients. Nice hot spuds, very nice. And the final ingredient, of course I'm going to wash this down with a glass of red, which I haven't had a drink for a week, so it's gone down very well. And what I'm going to put in here is Parmesan cheese, shredded Parmesan. So I just put that in on top, shredded Parmesan, and I'm ready to go. And it tastes good. It's healthy and it tastes good, so I feel like I'm cheating life there, you know, making a meal that's healthy and actually tastes good as well. But it really does. I'm not hyping it. And just lastly, the Cab Sab in my expensive glass. They're worth about $50, these glasses, so they're really nice. I had 4 of them. I'm down to 1. So, oh well. But it's nice to drink out of a nice glass. And this is the last one I've got, so there you go. So that's it. I've got my my food. Oh, let me get that there. Food and the vino. Where's the vino? Vino. Get into, there you go, vino. Food and vino for one. A very easy meal for a bachelor to make. So there you go. I hope that's been instructive. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.